Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Fico, and today we're going to talk to you about a little bit about a game I played over a free weekend over at Steam, and the game is called Evolve. Evolve has been a game that has already been talked about for like a few months already, and I haven't actually gotten a chance to play Evolve. The first time was when I came and became part of the beta, but my game computer back at the time couldn't play it, whereas my new baby is actually super duper fantastically awesome, and it was able to run it, and it ran it at 60 and did it perfectly. Had no lag spikes at all, and I enjoyed. I liked Evolve. Though there are some good things and bad things about Evolved, and I wrote a bit about things that were good and bad about Evolved. Now I'm going to talk about the good first, and then I'm going to go into the bad things. So basically, the good thing is that Evolve, it's a pretty simple game to get into. I mean, the game is littered with tutorials. Each class has their own tutorial. Each character has their own tutorial, and each one of the 5 modes that you play have tutorials as well. They explain them to you fairly detailed, and it shows you what you could do as tips, and sometimes they even have extra tutorials later on. Like saying you use a character, and for some reason I think I leveled up the character and I was near leveling a character. I got that character another tutorial video which was just tips on what you could do to play better with that character, which is really cool. The game has its variety of ways to play it. It's got hunt, which is the basic one. You hunt the monster with your friends or with the NPCs that play as the other classes. There is a nest, which basically you have to kill the eggs that are scattered around the map, or if they hatch and become minions, you have to kill them. There's also rescue, which you have to go save colonists and keep them alive from the monster. And basically when you rescue one, when you revive one, you have to take it to a specific location, and then they get pushed up and rescued. There's defend, which basically you have to keep the level 3 monster and their minions away from advancing through those different levels of security. It's almost like King of the Hill almost, except to get to the next point and get a time extension, they have to basically destroy the section. They have to use the minions, and you have to keep them constantly from getting past that level, and it's really difficult because it's already in level 3. And then there's just one, it's called Arena, which basically pits you and a few people against the monster in an enclosed arena. The monster is already a level 3 alpha ready, so good luck. Good freaking luck. Now the game's characters, they from each class, they differ from quite a few ways. For instance, the assault class, they basically these are the FPS, the damage per second, the DPS characters. These are your main attackers, but when you switch between the characters, your attacks change. You're basically just swapping characters, and each one of them have their own advantages. They have their own attacks. They contribute to different types of strategies. They complement the other kinds of trappers, which the trappers, they track and help find the monster. Certain trappers, they have different animals or ways to track things down. Medics and supports, which I haven't played too much as. I didn't get a chance to play too much as. With the medics, they heal and you can tag certain parts of the monster, and you're basically tagging them to reveal weak spots. And you, as the rest of the team, you're basically just annihilating the monster at a much more quicker pace. Supports didn't get, this is the one that I played the least of, but from what sounds like it's basically like like the name implies. I can't say much about them because I just don't know. The monsters are actually quite different. I didn't get to play too much as the monsters either, but when I was taking against the monsters, and they were, I had issues with specific ones because they're just, some of them just seem so OP and I couldn't really take on these all that well. I mean, these monsters, when they evolve, they just get so much more scary and so much more menacing. So that's why you have to kill them off the minute that they show up. You have to find them really fast. And the maps themselves are very detailed. They're huge maps. They're filled with monsters, and it helps you kind of sort of, you know, power up the rest of your progression and through the weapons, and some of them even give you buffs. And the maps change based on the mode, but ultimately it does make you feel as though you are looking for this monster inside of this humongous jungle, and you have to find it and you have to trap it. But there's so many things. There's other creatures in the way that you have to kill along with your team, and that adds a good amount of atmosphere too, so that's really cool. And progression, there is a progression system, there is a perk system as well, as you level up your overall level. But your characters themselves, they get more powerful abilities. It encourages you to switch for a class, because every time you are progressing you have to use these characters, and you have to use their abilities in certain conditions. Like, you have to follow the dog when you're using the trapper, the animal, like the trapper who has the animal, you follow it based on this animal, and it gets you progression with it. You progress the more damage you do with a weapon. The monster's progression system, I'm not sure if it has a progression system, so correct me if I'm wrong with it. I honestly didn't get a chance to play as the monsters all that well, but I did play with all the characters, which were all unlocked. So I thought that was really cool. And you unlock things. You kind of you can make your own emblem down at the bottom, and the more you complete, it gives you more elements so that you can complete and do a cool emblem. But overall, the game is very fun. I spent a lot of time playing it. I love first-person shooters, and the people at Turtle Rock Studios, they definitely do provide a very cool experience. You know, the progression is quite addicting. The many characters shrouded is very fun to experiment with each one of the characters from each class. But I did say that there were some bad things here, and the first thing is obviously the thing that everybody has been complaining about, and it is the shop. Now, the good news is that the majority of the things that are in the shop are not vital for you to play this game. However, there are some things, like for instance, most of what you can get in the shop is just a skin. You can only get skins for your weapons, skins for your monsters. The game's price itself, it just seems like you bought this game and suddenly you got like sucked into buying like more things in it as well. Now the characters, they were all unlocked while I was using it, but the thing is, I know that you gotta buy the season passes, or you have to purchase the characters themselves. So to me, it's kind of weird that you're offering all the characters all unlocked, and then later you're selling this game as, oh, you can play with all of these characters, but the characters are all locked, so you have to just buy them. So it seems kind of when you're just kind of like, oh, you gave me all this, and then you just took it away. But I mean, it didn't say like it was a demo. It just says you can play Evolve for free. So I don't know if they were kind of kind and 2K just let the characters all get released. I don't know. But if they didn't, and you have to buy the characters, it's a little misleading for people who are playing this game, because when they buy this game, they're only going to be able to play with a few of the characters, and they're going to wonder, where the heck are the other characters? I mean, what do you have to do? You have to unlock them and progress with certain characters. I don't know if you could unlock them, but you know, some of the characters there are on the shop and they are on sale. So either the characters are locked on a paywall, or the characters are all unlockable in a certain way, and it's just ridiculously difficult. I don't know. I didn't get that far because the characters, they were all already unlocked. Now, talked about the modes and, hunt and rescue and all those modes. They all provide a little bit of variety, but at the end of the day, they all seem quite similar because they all end, you can kill the monster and that mode pretty much just ends. So there isn't an incentive much to rescue the people other than the monster's gonna go get them. If he gets them first, you lose. If the eggs hatch, the more minions out on the field. But ultimately, killing the monster can end pretty much any of the modes. They all add a layer of challenge, but the modes, just apart from the little things that are in between, they all could be really much kind of similar in the same mode. Now, I didn't get a chance to play with other real life players, so I played just with the AI. And the AI can be really, really dumb. Sometimes the medic would be in front of me, wouldn't heal me. Sometimes there would be a support that wouldn't revive me if I was knocked down. The monster's always OP, is seriously OP at times, and it just murderizing everybody. So, but it's kind of weird, and it's you might as well be the medic at times because it's always the same thing. They always go for the medic, and it's a smart technique, but that medic is so dumb it always dies, and the fun kind of goes done. Looking for the monster, it can be very, very tedious. Now remember when I said it was like hunt and the expansive large maps that makes it feel very, very real. It's very like you're in this environment where you are hunting a monster, and it feels pretty good. But because the monster is like your only objective in a something like hunt, you could literally spend minutes upon minutes just going around the map and circling around. If you're not the trapper has to basically just keep spiking areas. If you're following your animal, you also have to, even with following the tracks, you do spend a large amount of time just running around this humongous map and nothing happens. I mean, there is a lot of stuff that you can kill along the way and it goes up against you, which is great for your progression for your character. But at the same time, you're supposed to be hunting this monster, and to me, if the only challenge is this one monster and this one freaking huge map, it could work, but it could make a game just be this long, arduous chore of just running around and looking for them all the time. And sometimes it starts getting frustrating because I'm running around. I was like, where the heck is this monster? Where the hell is this freaking monster? I've gone past this section like 3 times already. Where the hell is this monster? And it can get very, very annoying very, very fast. Now, some of the characters from the classes are good, and the trappers, I'm looking at the trappers specifically. Now, I've used a lot of the assault classes, and the assault classes, they're all very, very nice. They all have their own cool things. Trappers, on the other hand, some of these trappers just outright suck, and they're all different in their own way, but some of these trappers are quite I don't know why. It's just like, it's so much easier for me to use the first trapper and the other trappers later down the road. I didn't get to play with all of them, but some of the other ones it just makes looking for the monster so much more complicated. Like there's one where you have to put on a spike and it's a motion sensor, and the other one is this orbital thing that I think finds it for you. And then there's this one who I guess can stick a tracker on the monster, which means you have to find the monster anyway on your own manually, just stick them with this thing, and then you can track the monster. So you have to track the monster and then you can put in the tracker. So yeah, now some of them are just not all that good. This game is really lacking a story. This is a full-on multiplayer fest. There is a setup, there is a bunch of scenarios. When like the opening sequence and all of these characters that you get introduced which are light on story, are put into a situation where there is no story. There is a single player and there's evacuation, which basically you have to play through the modes, and through the modes you are going through little by little, beating each time you evacuate. The more people than the monster kills, you win. That's good for helping on the progression, but ultimately there is no campaign. There is no campaign that shows you what happened in this world, what are these monsters, where they came from, why are they killing all these people. I mean, clearly they're mindless beasts and they're out killing these people, but some of these monsters, they seem rather, I mean, as you're using them, they're intelligent. So it's like they have a reason why they're doing this. They never break into that. Now, the last thing is that the characters themselves interact with each other, and the characters themselves kind of narrate their own stories. They narrate their own stories through conversations, like when you're going to get thrown off the plane to do hunt. Depending on the group of hunters and that you have there, they sort of interact with each other, and it's really cool. We get some really great setup, but these characters did have something before this. But again, since this game doesn't have a campaign, since this game doesn't have I mean, it has a setup, but you don't get told too much about any of these characters. So all you have is that light banter between the characters, and that's pretty much it. This game does not have a campaign. The characters have a little bit of interaction with each other, talking about these experiences that they have with each other, but other than that, there is nothing much there. It's very basic, it's very light. Now, what's the overall verdict? Now, I personally think, like I said before, I was a little concerned that I was a little concerned of its lightness. Now, when you played this free weekend not that long ago, you got all the characters, all of them. But overall, a lot of this game, many people, including the developers, have come out and said that this game was built from the ground up to be DLC focused, which means that you are getting a basic game, and they are incentivizing you to go to the shop and increase your experience. Now, I don't know whether you can unlock the characters or the monsters through a different way, but I will tell you this. I will not recommend you to buy this game, not at this point. Now, if the game gets a price cut and it gets all of the content added into the game right off the bat, then I would recommend you to get this game, because this game is very beefy if all the content is already in there. Like, all the monsters are already there, but you know that you probably have to buy these monsters. Now, for the ones that aren't bothered by increasing their experience, then, I would recommend at least wait till the game comes down in price, so that maybe perhaps the difference in which what you purchase for the DLC isn't all that much. But I would recommend to wait until Evolve eventually goes down on sale and all the DLC goes on sale, so that way you save as much money as you can. But overall, I really don't like that what 2K and Turtle Rock did, and because they pretty much just stripped this game bare. It stripped it to the bareness. When you saw the look on the initial trailers of Evolve, that was pretty much all you saw of what was going to be the game. That was it. There wasn't anything beyond that. There wasn't a story. There wasn't an incentive to keep going. It's a quick game that you can enjoy and have fun. It's actually surprisingly addicting. So for those FPS nuts that are looking for every FPS game, get Evolve. It's a fun game to play with friends. It definitely sounds like a game that you could just join in with a bunch of people, and it's quite hilarious, and it's a fun game. But the thing is that it doesn't have too much variety into the game, so the game can get very tiring after a while. So I would recommend to get the game at the lowest price you can. Wait till the end of the year, perhaps for the Steam winter sale. Maybe perhaps you can get it on Green Man Gaming cheaper. Do that and you won't feel cheated from it. But I do recommend also that you stay away from the skin packs, because the skins really don't add anything to the game. I mean, unless you want to make the monsters look different, which of course you can, but it's very, very obvious that the game was made with you in mind to go into that store and purchase a lot of things. They made the game as bare as it could so that you can go into the store and be like, well, wait a minute, what are all these characters doing here? I'm gonna go buy these characters because I don't want to play with just 4 or 8 or how many of characters will be available or are available from the get-go. So basically that's it. It's a fun game. It's addicting in its progression. But of course, I played a game where most of the content was already available. So if I were to play this game again, it's not going to have any of that. And it's kind of disappointing that it is kind of really disappointing that you're playing this game that it's bare minimum in it. So I do find it very disappointing. I don't support these DLC tricks from developers and publishers who are greedy, who claim that games are too expensive to make and they need some workaround in order for you to do these. So it's kind of a joke. This is just me. I'm kind of rambling at this point, but like I said before, I recommend this game if you get it on sale and it somehow includes all the content, or at the very least, if all the content goes on sale, so that way you can save the most you can possibly on the DLC. Guys, that's it. That was my impressions of the game Evolve. And this is actually kind of weird because I talk a lot about games in this channel, about stuff that bothers me about the game industry, but I realize that I rarely ever talk about actual games. So I like to do this, so I'm gonna try to do this a lot more. So y'all let me know what other games you want me to talk about, and I will gladly consider talking about them. Now, there is this one game that I'm seeing everybody play, which is of course the Phantom Pain, and well, you know what, you guys know what I think about that game, so about that company at least. I've been told that the game is really, really good, and eventually I will end up getting that game. But at the moment, I'm just holding myself off to see if I could maybe perhaps get that game, or maybe somebody gives it to me so that I don't feel bad because I'm giving money. I mean, somebody else wants to give money to them so they can give me the game. It's perfectly fine. So that's pretty much it. Guys, thank you so much for listening and watching. And if you like this video, give it a like and share it with people so that you could, if somebody's thinking about getting Evolve, y'all let me know. So like, let them know with this video. Thank you for watching. My name is Fico, and that was my gaming mind. Peace out, guys.